Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Lexus. The new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. It's next level luxury. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing too high. The opener of the third series on this homestand coming your way from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Welcome on Root Sports. It's game one of a three-game set with the Astros meeting the Cleveland Indians. Here is Terry Francona's starting lineup for Cleveland. Carlos Santana, the DH, is the leadoff man with Jason Kipnis at second base. Francisco Lindor, the shortstop, bats third with Michael Brantley in left field cleaning it up. The number 5 hitter is first baseman Mike Napoli. He's followed by third baseman Jose Ramirez, catcher Yan Gomes, right fielder Lonnie Chisenhall, center fielder Rajay Davis, and the pitcher is Corey Kluber.
Mike Fiers going for the Houston Astros. Might be one of those chances for him to pitch his way and stay in that rotation. You see his numbers on the year. Great number for him is in his 33 2/3 innings pitched. Only 4 walks, 26 strikeouts in that time.
First pitch is in for strike one. Lance Barrett, the home plate umpire, rings it up on Santana. A .224 hitter with 5 homers, 13 runs batted in. He has been a middle of the order style hitter most of his career, but he's been leading off with success this season 9 times. And that's off the inside corner, 1-1. And with Santana in this leadoff spot, he's drawn 16 walks for the year with a .336 on base average. The Indians have gone 8-1 in his 9 games leading off. Curveball makes it a 1-2 count. Welcome back, Jeff Blum.
Good to be back, Brownie. Thank you.
Well, this 3-game series could bring an awful lot of good pitching.
It really should. We know the Indians, that is their staple, is having a quality rotation.
They're 9th in runs scored in the American League. And a curveball gets a strikeout for Fiers.
Take a look at that pitch on our MD Anderson strike zone. Get a good idea what they're trying to do. Good breaking ball. That's that strikeout breaking ball from Mike Fiers. So it's a good hard one down in the dirt. Get the swing over the top.
He is facing the Indians for the first time in his career. And Jason Kipnis, who made the All-Star team last season, is a .261 hitter with 3 homers, 13 runs batted in. Kipnis takes, and there's ball 1. That's a good seat from that front row right behind the dugout, looking in at Mike Fiers. Facing Kipnis, who's second on the Indians in runs batted in, hits and runs. Fastball comes in to make it 1-1. Last time out, Mike had the lead, but couldn't get that final out of the 5th inning. And he wound up in a no decision, but the Astros won the game 16-4 against Minnesota. He went 4 2/3, giving up 9 hits and 4 earned runs. Out of the shift, it's Carlos Correa to his left. Taking care of out number 2 on Kipnis. And Francisco Lindor is next. Well, we have 2 of the best shortstops in baseball, and both exceptionally young and very talented playing in this series. Lindor, like Correa, hitting 3rd in his team's lineup. And not only is he a defensive whiz, but the switch hitter is hitting .324 with 2 homers, 12 runs batted in. He came up to the big leagues 6 days after Correa made his debut, and he wound up runner-up to Correa for the American League Rookie of the Year last year. Both are from Puerto Rico. Ball 1, and this is going to be a shortstop fest. You're going to like it this 3-game series watching these guys play.
No, this is going to be big time. I've been looking forward to this all year long. When I saw it on the schedule, so many reports, everybody's watching the series because of these 2 guys. Rightfully so, too. 2 unique, young, dynamic talents. Reminds me of an era when I saw Nomar Garciaparra, Alex Rodriguez, but Lindor flashing the leather, ranging all over the field. Truly an athletic shortstop, not quite the same size as Carlos Correa.
1-1. Lindor also was a first-round pick. He was drafted in 2011. Fiers gets a swing and a miss on an 81-mile-per-hour off-speed pitch. 1-2. Lindor's from Caguas, Puerto Rico, but unlike Carlos Correa, he moved when he was 12 to Florida. He went to the Montverde Academy in the Orlando area. And Carlos Correa wanted to stay in Puerto Rico, So both very high draft choices. Correa #1 overall in 2012. Lindor #8 overall in 2011. Francisco 23 years old. Bounces one, and there's the backhand play. Marlon Gonzalez with the toss to Fires, who has a 1-2-3 first. Corey Kluber takes the mound in just a moment. Indians went out 1-2-3. Now the Astros come up. Their starting lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. A.J. Hinch goes with Jose Altuve. Who else at second base leading off? George Springer in right field. Carlos Correa at shortstop. Colby Rasmus cleaning up in left field. The #5 hitter is switch hitting first baseman Marlon Gonzalez, with the DH Preston Tucker, the center fielder Carlos Gomez, the third baseman former Indian Luis Valbuena, the catcher Jason Castro.
Look at right-hander Corey Kluber. Interesting story on him is that he may not be that ace of the staff. He has a Cy Young under his belt, but Salazar and Carrasco have stepped up. Carrasco on the DL, but you see the numbers on the season. Did a great job against Houston last year with that 1.29. But his last outing, he pitched out of some damage with the pitching against Detroit. A good fastball, cutter, curveball mix from Corey Kluber. Strong arm for the Cleveland Indians.
In 2014, he won the Cy Young Award, going 18-9 with a 2.44 ERA. Jose Altuve is digging a foothold. He's third in the league in hits with 40 hits. His .325 batting average is accompanied by 9 homers, 19 runs batted in, and he's second in doubles with 14. Magnificent start for Altuve, and it's strike one. Kluber is 4-1 against Houston, facing a man with 23 extra base hits, second in the American League, who has been ripping the ball in his first inning at bats this year. It's 1-1. Kluber just turned 30 in April. He's from Birmingham. Went to Coppell High School in Texas, and then Stetson University, a 4th-round pick of San Diego in '07. Altuve fouls it. 1-2.
Yeah, Altuve's first inning numbers are a little ridiculous. 483 average, 6 bombs. He scored 11 runs. I think that number would be a little bit higher when he's getting on base about 50% of the time.
Sure is. And those 6 leadoff homers you talked about, really a fantastic part of what he's been doing. This one fouled away. 1-2. Pretty nice for a Houston pitcher to think that if he has a scoreless first inning, he might have the lead after his first batter of the game on his team.
Yeah, when you step off that mound after a big 0, you know you got a 50-50 chance in the first inning. It's a pretty good feeling.
Altuve had 2 hits, a walk, and stole 3 bases yesterday. That's a late breaking pitch, and he checked his swing on appeal to Dan Isagna. 2-2. Looks like that's going to be a challenge for these right-handed hitters against Kluber.
Yeah, it says cutter, but it's more of a firm slider with that much break on it.
And strike 3 call for Kluber. Check out the 3 guys who are starting in this series and what they've done in their careers against the Astros.
Yeah, you'd like to change those numbers up a little bit if you're an Astro hitter, but it's going to be a tough task to try and change those. Some dynamic right arms in that Indian rotation.
Yes, sir. George Springer at 256 has 6 homers. He has driven in 16. That's strike 1 to Springer, who has gone 5 for 24 on this homestand for a 208 batting average. Those are his overall seasonal numbers. No balls, 2 strikes for Kluber, shooting for win number 3 of the season. He's had 3 straight quality starts, though. 2 of those against hard-hitting Detroit. Foul tip strikeout. 2 in a row for Kluber to open. And Carlos Correa will follow. Correa coming up at 286 has 5 homers, 16 runs batted in. He's had a really nice homestand, hitting .360 with 2 bombs, driving in 7. Correa drove in a run with a single yesterday. Strike for Kluber. Well, if he gets that call all night, it could be a short one for the hitters.
Tell you what, I'd like to pitch to that zone with Kluber's stuff.
You bet. Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. Astros 4-3 on this homestand, taking on a club in the Indians with a 15-13 record, 5 games out of first place in the AL Central. It's been hard to keep within the rearview mirror of the White Sox. Struck him out. He struck out the side. No score after 1.
All right, 1B.
The Indians and the Astros. All right, we're getting to it early today. It's time to take a look at the Chevy Stro poll. Make sure to head over to the Root Sports SW Twitter page to vote. Which is the best Astros do? We're talking hair here. The Springer, the Colby, the Go-Go, or the Jake. Go-Go doesn't have any hair. He's got a new look going on. There he is at the bottom left. Springer's got some mohawk. And then, of course, the locks on Colby and Jake with the lotion that they use to keep it moist during the games. I don't know.
Well, are they getting this from you?
No.
Okay.
This is all on them.
Hey, they're just glad I'm not on the team.
Right? Where was Blummer's picture there?
Yeah, we're going to get him as a part of this.
My
group.
days are over.
Michael Brantley taking strike one. And it's 1-1 for Brantley, a .257 hitter with no homers, 7 runs batted in. He was out with a right shoulder injury. Had been an all-star in 2014. Third in the MVP voting with a Silver Slugger that year. But he started this year on the DL after shoulder surgery. And now it's a 1-ball 2-strike count for Mike Fiers. As an Astro, Mike Fiers has won 4 and lost 2 with a 3.66 ERA and 15 career starts with Houston. Curveball tapped up the middle. Difficult play here. Altuve barehanded. Whoa, did he do it? What a play.
Not only is he good, he's having fun. You got to be kidding me with this play right here, Brownie.
Oh, this is almost impossible, isn't it?
There were a lot of questions watching that play from where we sit on who's going to actually make that play, but we should have just assumed it would have been Jose Altuve with the bare hand grab.
He picked it right out of Correa's glove, Blummer.
It almost looked like he picked it up in perfect throwing grip, too.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
Wow.
Terrific play by Altuve.
You really run out of things to say about the guy. You just got to sit back and watch.
Yeah, we're finished with the superlatives. We've exhausted all of them on him already, and it's only early May. Mike Napoli takes ball 1. Napoli with 6 homers, 20 runs batted in, has a .232 batting average. It just continues to be the Altuve show in so many ways this year.
Well, that was one of the things when I started working here in 2013 is Altuve, great bat, questionable glove, and there were some issues throughout 2013 where you were kind of like, okay, they might be right in that sense, but this is a guy right here who continues to work to get better, and you really saw the development on the defensive side in 2014-15, and here we are in 2016. He's turning in highlight reel type plays.
2-1. Normally when we think of bare hand plays, we think of a third baseman coming in on a ball or maybe a shortstop, but he's moving toward third base as he barehands that ball.
And that ball's not rolling on the ground. That's a solid hop. Another Indian great, Omar Vizquel. Didn't use the glove as often as you'd like, but he was pretty good without it.
3 balls and a strike. Yeah, Vizquel was kind of like Michael Jackson. He used a glove for no apparent reason. He chased the high heater, and Napoli has a 3-ball 2-strike count. This guy can do some damage, Plummer.
Yes, he can. So we look at the swing on Mattress Firm Super Mo up there in Gaddis range, trying to tomahawk that pitch.
Yes, he was. Looking for something around neck high that he can drive. Well, he's hit more than 200 career homers. He's had some very good years.
I want to be in on that hitters meeting.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the neck high heater.
He fouls it. He hit 30 bombs for Texas back in 2011, and consistently he's had 20 or more. Not only that, but Napoli takes his walks as well. Napoli looks at strike 3. That's 5 in a row for Fiers.
Tell you what, I'm going to start swinging the bat with 2 strikes with Barrett behind the plate. That zone is getting expansive. Pitchers are recognizing. They're reaching over there on that outside corner and getting the calls. My goodness. I'm getting the sweats up here, Brownie.
Yeah, you don't want to grab a bat tonight. Jose Ramirez, the batter. And there's ball 1 to him. Ramirez at .310 has 1 homer, 12 runs batted in. Playing third base. Juan Uribe also has been playing that position. Ramirez with a line drive hit. pulls one up the right field line. He takes a turn. Springer with the turn and a throw into second base on a hop. And he's in as his helmet goes flying with a hustling double.
Good hustle. Ramirez knows his speed. George Springer does a great job of getting to the ball. Watch the location on this pitch. You could see Jason Castro wanted that ball lower outside, but middle in. Ramirez gets his hands inside, turns on it, and races to a double. Good move with 2 outs, too. Good fundamental base running.
He came flying out of the box.
What are the chances of his helmet hitting him in the backside after that?
Pretty rare.
Pretty good trick.
2-out double for Yan Gomes now. Gomes with a 176 average, trying to get things rolling. He looks at ball 1. And the Indians catcher from Brazil is 28 years old. Well, those numbers not close to what he did last year when he had 12 homers, 45 runs batted in. But 2014 was an even better year. 21 homers, 74 runs batted in, a 278 average, and a Silver Slugger award for Yan Gomes.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Now that is strong, Blummer.
Yeah, that's why you should wear a hat all the time, kids.
This is why Twitter is so great.
It is. Oh, man.
Thank you for pulling that one out for us. Who was that? Go Astros.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Deep in the Twitter library comes that. That was from how many years ago? We're not sure. Line shot. And Gomez comes over for the catch. No runs, a hit, a man stranded. Couple of good plays in the inning and no score.
Go to the bottom of the second, and the Astros trying to put back-to-back wins together, getting that one yesterday 5-1. And this home run hitting club did a little bit differently yesterday. A little small ball happening for the Astros, and it started in the third with Jose Altuve. Who else? This guy, the spark plug for this club, beat out a throw to get the infield single, and then he stole a couple of bases getting to third. How about Colby Rasmus, who right here lays down the 2-out, 2-strike bunt, beating the shift and driving in a run, and then Marwin Gonzalez following that up with an RBI single. They're doing it in different ways, which is very good to see for this club, who has kind of leaned on that home run early in the season in order to help this offense out. But it's good to see all of these guys doing what they know they can do in playing Astros baseball, as they call it, and they're best when they're able to score in many different ways, don't you think, guys?
Absolutely, Julia. Those were fun highlights to watch from yesterday. Colby Rasmus gets it going here in the home second. Ground ball, and there's Kipnis out in right field making the throw. 1 pitch, 1 out for Kluber. And as the skipper A.J. Hinch told us before the game, Julia was sitting right there. He has stocked his lineup with left-handed hitters because Kluber is so difficult. We saw that with those 3 right-handed hitters he faced in the first inning, Blummer.
No, he's good. I think we're seeing a good slider cutter combination from Kluber. He throws that hard cutter at 89 miles an hour, but we saw a couple of strikeouts, swings and misses on the big slider at 84 miles an hour too, so he can vary the break on that. And left-handers are hitting 250 off him coming into this game. Right-handers hitting a $185 coming into this game.
Marwin Gonzalez has a 4-game hitting streak. That's ball 1 to Marwin, who was talking about that hit we just saw in the highlights from yesterday. One of 2 hits he had in the game. That was an RBI single as the Astros played small ball with that 2-out 2-strike hit in the 3rd inning. He said he'd like to do that more depending on the pitch location. He said he does not like to bunt in this present configuration, batting left-handed, because the third baseman is too close to him, Blummer.
Yeah, you don't want to bunt yourself into an out and take away that at bat. It's got to be a calculated risk. Unless you're an absolute burner, then you can lay it down anywhere you want. But you got to maybe pick your moments.
Two balls and a strike. Or 1 ball and 2 strikes. Right. That's a wicked pitch right there.
Yeah, the changeup from Kluber really doesn't throw it all that often, but maybe that's how he's going to counteract all the left-handers being in that Astro lineup.
He piled up 222 innings last year, but he was 9-16 without any run support to speak of. Now it goes to 2-2 as he comes inside about kneecap high. And Marwin gets another shot at first base. This is his 8th start at that position. He's had 8 starts at third, 1 at short, 1 at second, completing the circuit around the infield. And started to get some things going with the bat. Count runs to 3-2 on Marwin. He's hit .304 on this homestand, 7 for 23 with a homer, 3 runs batted in. So that got him a promotion to this number 5 spot in the order, where he was yesterday and had the nice game. Now he coaxes a walk and becomes the first Houston base runner.
Catch the deal of the season with Coca-Cola Double Play Tuesdays. Get a couple of View Deck 2 tickets for tomorrow night's game for only $22. Bring 2 Powerade labels to the Minute Maid Park box office to purchase tickets. Oh yeah, look at the flow there, Ash. He had some quality moss. Still does.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Very stylish. Preston Tucker's the batter. Tuck takes, and there's ball 1. He's 3 for 14 with a homer on this homestand. We have a special group here at the ball game tonight out in the Budweiser patio in center field from the Heritage at Town Lake. They rode the bus in, having a great time out there in center field.
It's a good place to have some fun.
Oh, it is. 2 balls, no strikes. Yeah, they were ordering their food, and oh yeah, we had a chat. Everybody had smiles on their faces, having a great time out there tonight.
Can't hide anywhere, Brownie.
I didn't know they were doing this. Was this your idea?
Absolutely not. I was going to let you enjoy the festivities.
Well, they are having just a terrific time out there. Back to center fielder Rajai Davis. Marwin's tagging, and now he sees the throw coming in accurately near second and goes back on out number 2. That's the way to play it. Force the throw and then read it.
I agree with you, Brownie. See that swing from Tucker. Might have gotten it just off the end of the bat. Did a good job of staying on that. But just not enough barrel on it to drive it out of here. And a good idea, like you said, for Marwin just to tag up and entice a throw from Rajai Davis out there in center field. Not one of the stronger arms, but it was on line.
Yes, it was on line. Carlos Gomez with a .206 average has no homers, 4 runs batted in. He's gone 3 for 17 with 2 runs batted in on this homestand. Did not play yesterday against Seattle after being tossed out of the game by Jeff Nelson Saturday night prior to the 10th inning. That's strike 1 for Corey Kluber. Well, this Cleveland club thinks that it can stay with the big boys in the AL Central after going 81-80 last year, finishing in 3rd place, 13.5 games out. And with pitching like they've had, they could be right there. It's 1-1. They've won their last 2 series, starting to make a little move, but of course the White Sox have been in another world in the AL Central. Terry Francona, though, is one of the top managers around, Blummer.
No, he's good. He's a good mix for these kids, too. A lot of experience under his belt, but really good at managing egos. But he's got a great pitching staff to work with.
Out to center field for Rajai Davis to end the 2nd inning with no score.
Scoreless game between the Indians and Astros. Make sure to join us tomorrow night at Minute Maid Park as we celebrate Medical Professionals Appreciation Night. All fans with a Medical Professionals ticket will receive an Astros scrub top. Visit astros.com/medical for tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Browning.
Scrubs are very comfortable in the summertime when it gets really hot.
I think we should wear scrubs during the broadcast tomorrow in honor.
You know, that is the best suggestion we've heard all day. Solid idea, Blummer. Lonnie Chisenhall, the right fielder, fouls it back. There's strike 1. Chisenhall at .256 has no homers and 2 runs batted in for Lonnie. He started the year on the 15-day DL with a left wrist impingement.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, impingements. Yeah, have you ever had one of those?
I have not.
They're not fun.
All the scorekeeping I've been doing lately, I might.
You might get a hand impingement.
Might get impinged.
You might get impaled with your multicolored pen there tonight.
Yeah, it's just which color is it going to be?
Very stylish, Blummer. You're really learning the art of keeping score.
This thing is a lifesaver.
Line. Oh! Hey! Correa. That ball got out to him in about 0.4 seconds, Blummer.
That was an absolute seed. But when you're a 6'4" shortstop, not only do you have range east and west, you've got some north. Great play.
Man down.
need a little rest after a great play like that.
Stayed down for effect.
You think he told Altuve he wouldn't have made that play?
Well, after larceny, it's necessary to hide from the authorities, and that's what he was doing. He was staying low. Strike one to Davis. What a play. It's 1-1. 253 for Davis. 2 homers, 11 runs batted in for Rajay Davis. 35-year-old veteran. He's been around several clubs. Correa backhanding. Takes care of that one. Now, don't you just know that these 2 young shortstops who had lunch together at the hotel across the street today are really into the competition aspect of this series, Plummer?
Yeah, that's what makes all of this so much fun on the baseball field, to have 2 guys that can have that friendly competition. And I just think it's great that they are not incredibly, I mean, they are similar in the sense they have talent, but I mean, Carlos Correa, 6'4" shortstop. Lindor, much smaller, quicker, more agile, so to speak. But switch hits, Lindor does. I mean, they bring so much to the table, and they're such dynamic offensive and defensive ball players. Both hitting 3-hole at such a young age, too.
True. Good point. Ball 1 to Santana. He struck out to open the game. Santana used to catch. He's from the Dominican Republic. 30 years old. He's had some slugging years with the Tribe. Fires, gets it inside on the corner for a 1-1 count. Santana had 27 homers for Cleveland and 85 runs batted in 2014, and drove in 85 more last year. And he pokes that one through the left side for a 2-out single for Santana. Julia Morales is waiting.
Hey guys, talking more about the Lindor Correa matchup. Terry Francona is our Geico quote of the day. Before the game, he said, if I was going to be completely honest, I'd wish they'd just give Correa the 3 days off. But he did say these 2 guys are great for baseball, both really good kids. He's heard really good things about Correa and said, calls him Frankie, very talented. And he said, I don't know if Correa is good for us winning tonight, but they're both really, really good for the game. Their youth, their enthusiasm, future's bright. They could be faces of baseball for years to come.
Rave reviews about both so far. Thanks, Julia. Kipnis the batter now. He grounded to short earlier, and he looks at ball 1 there. It's just a really exciting era in baseball with not only these 2 shortstops, but many others, the Corey Seagers of the world. And you know, Seattle has a pretty good young shortstop, Ketel Marte.
He kind of snuck onto the scene, but he's real good.
Yeah. So, and then all the other young players in the game. Great time to watch talent. Runner going. Here's Castro with a throw. Correa with a tag. He is out to end it in the top of the 3rd inning. A 2-6 caught stealing. Castro throws out his 3rd in 15 tries. No runs, a hit, nobody left, no score.
Indians have 0 runs and the Astros have 0 runs. And Houston Methodist is going to bring us our league leaders. Runs scored in the last 7 days in the American League. Look who's on top, the Houston Astros. We know the offense can score a lot of runs. Julia talked about the small ball they played yesterday to get that done. We also know they can drive the ball out of the ballpark, but a good time to be scoring a lot of runs. Pick up that pitching until they get their legs under them.
A.J. Hinch would love to see it continue as Luis Valbuena leads it off here in the home third inning. He hit his first homer of the year, and it came in a big situation. Bottom of the ninth inning Saturday night, tying Seattle 2-2. 182, one homer, 5 runs batted in for Valbuena. Castro on deck. Altuve due up third. Kluber delivers, and it's ball one. Kluber has surrendered just 3 homers in 45 innings this year. Batting average against him is .217. He's walked 8 and struck out 45. Liner to right field, beats the shifts. A Ted Williams hit over the infielders in front of Chisenhall for the first Astro hit of the night.
Good to see Valbuena getting that bat going a little bit, and that's his happy zone down in the zone. Kind of has that big looping swing, but able to get to those pitches down quite well. A little top hand lob in there over Kipnis's head.
He found a landing area, and that's a leadoff single with Castro coming up. Castro has a 189 average, 2 homers, 7 runs batted in for Jason. Castro was 1 for 12 in the Seattle series, but on this homestand has been hitting .286, 2 homers, 5 runs batted in. Both those homers in the Crawford boxes. In tight, ball one. In Kluber's career at Minute Maid Park, he has an ERA of 1.47 with 2 wins and 1 loss. Kluber was a teammate of Dallas Keuchel as a teenager in the Dallas Tigers. That's a fair ball. A blown up bat. Valbuena heads for third. Castro into second. And the Astros have something going with a broken bat double by Castro, his third 2-base hit.
Creeping towards that exit on the interstate is Jason Castro. Good job going the other way. Nobody said you had to smash it the other way. You just got to find some open area to sneak it through. Good pitch down and away. Right off the end of the bat. There you get a good idea of the repercussions of hitting a ball off the end of the bat. Bat splinters. But that's the beautiful part right there. Sneaking it inside that left field line. Runners at second and third.
The Indians do not move their infielders in, although the first baseman Napoli's at the edge of the grass. Third baseman Ramirez even with the bag. And Altuve's the batter. Altuve struck out in the first inning, looking. Big early RBI situation for him now. Ripped into left field. Valbuena and Castro scoring on an Altuve 2-run double. 15th double for Altuve. 21 runs batted in.
That's exciting for A.J. Hinch to see guys at the bottom of his order getting on base. He's not asking them to drive the ball out of the ballpark. He's asking them to set up that top part of the lineup. Get Altuve. Get Springer and Correa out there with runners on base. And Altuve does a great job of dropping the head on this fastball inside. Turn on it. Makes the job easy for Gary Pettis when he hit the ball right there, sending both runners home. Beautiful.
Now 2-0, and Altuve strikes again. George Springer, who struck out in the first, has an RBI chance himself. Now turn back towards second.
Talk about slugging. Doubles count in that slugging department by season. My goodness, a jump of 200 points over last year when he hit 15 home runs, which were a career high. Plenty of season left.
Springer looks at one up and in for a ball. Altuve now has 24 extra base hits. He is a leadoff man with plenty of pop. He started the night with a .659 slugging percentage. You took note of that. Hard to sustain a figure that high, but he's done a great job of it. 2-0.
Good job by George getting himself in a hitter's count. Get better pitch to hit.
Altuve drew an intentional walk. That's the ultimate sign of respect from Seattle manager Scott Servais yesterday, with a runner at second and 2 outs in the 4th inning. It might be something we see more often this year.
No doubt.
Pretty rare, though, for a leadoff man to be given that honor.
It is, and you really got to pick your poison, because if George Springer decides to square one up, that turns a 2-run homer into a 3-run homer, and all kinds of damage waiting to happen behind Altuve.
In fact, you know, Altuve leading off through the intentional walk. Rasmus batting 4th, put down a 2-strike bunt for a hit. Crazy game. Springer takes a walk on 4 pitches. Second walk for Kluber.
Jack in the Box takes us inside the box score, looking at Francisco or Frankie Lindor and Carlos Correa. Those debuts, similar games played. Average goes to Lindor, and fielding percentage, but home runs, RBIs, and believe it or not, stolen bases go to Carlos Correa.
Well, we could be looking at this 15 years from now, right? That kind of.
How about the All-Star voting?
Right.
My goodness.
Yeah. It's crowded. Correa struck out in the 1st inning. Now 2 men on for Carlos. First 4 have reached. He fouls it for strike 1.
Good pitch to hit.
And as you know, these players are both so young that things will evolve, and it'll be everybody hoping a lengthy career for both of these guys. So who knows where things might be between the two of them and their head-to-head matchups 10 years from now, we'll say.
I was to say that graphic's going to look a lot different with some monster numbers on it between these two if they keep it up.
Oh, and 2. You know, the question surrounding Correa for a while now has been, will he be able to stay at shortstop down through the years? Or will he gain weight and will he be moved to 3rd? He really wants to stay at shortstop.
Well, he's got something to work for.
No such question about Frankie Lindor, though, because he's built for shortstop. Not that Correa is not. Cal Ripken did pretty well with his frame at shortstop. Correa has that 6'4" frame.
Well, and the comparison that Carlos Correa draws more often than not is Alex Rodriguez. And what happened to Alex Rodriguez? He eventually moved over to 3rd base. Granted, it was when he moved to New York and Derek Jeter, who was playing shortstop, was there. But at the same time, I think at the time of his career and the size that Alex Rodriguez was, it was a logical, easy move and easy choice for him to make.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
But as long as there's not a Derek Jeter in the way of Carlos Correa, I'd say he could play shortstop for quite a long time.
Rasmus is on deck. We had some rain in the area this morning. Ground ball foul. Teams have been coming inside hard on Correa. He's hit the pitch away so very well, including homers to right field and center field.
It's a really good look at it. Almost a self-defense type swing. But we saw earlier in the season, we saw Correa being pitched hard early in and then soft away. Now it seems that Kluber's going with the soft away, hard in late.
Correa fouls it back. So if you're Correa, what does that do to your mindset when that late inside heater comes in the count?
I'm not sure if Carlos Correa, I mean, we've watched him plenty, but I'm not sure if he's one of those guess hitters. There are times that he takes pitches looking, but at the same time, I think that he has a maybe a little bit broader approach against a guy like Kluber, where he says, I'm going to try and take everything up the middle the other way and react in. It's hard to do with 94 miles an hour, but you can see him fighting it off. But here early in the season, too, the first month and a half, we've really seen Carlos with a concerted effort to try and go in that right center field gap.
Off the plate. And that might have been an attempt to kind of prey on that tactic of his, but he wasn't fishing for it, and it's a full count. So now, with runners at first and second, nobody out. What's the play? You send the runners.
I'm not sure if I'd want to run into that 2 outs. I'd like to keep the big inning alive. But that being said, you've got Altuve and Springer out there, who guys that run extremely well. And Altuve makes some questionable choices early on. Maybe A.J. Hinch shuts him down because you have the team leader in RBIs hitting behind Carlos Correa and Colby Rasmus.
Yan Gomes has thrown very well this year. Ground ball into left field. Altuve gets a stop sign, and the bases are loaded. 5 straight Astros have reached against Kluber. Correa wins that battle after pulling the count to 3-2.
That was a very nice job by Carlos Correa. Great at bat, fouled off some tough pitches. Again, you see on the outside corner, Carlos with those nice long arms gets around it, hooks it in that 5.5 hole. Altuve had to hold his ground a little bit, make sure that ball made it into left field. Good call holding him up because, again, Colby Rasmus with the bases juiced and leading the team in RBIs.
Nobody out in the inning. Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, out for a visit. And Kluber hasn't had this kind of a problem his last 3 starts. Rasmus is hitting .387 with men in scoring position. He grounded out on the first pitch in the 2nd inning.
We've got our Lexus defensive rankings in this situation. Gary Pettis knows these numbers quite well. You notice Brantley out there in left field. Shallow left field, I'm sorry. Not a strong throw. Rajai Davis gets to the ball quickly, but the arm is a little questionable for me. So I think Gary Pettis on a fly ball is going to challenge these base runners. Challenge these outfielders, especially with the base running of Altuve.
Crowd getting stirred up. Thinking about maybe a Colby slam jack. Line drive to right field will work. Altuve coming in to score. 3-0, and now here's Correa to throw to the plate. Springer is safe. Springer scored the 2nd run, and that is a great base running move by George Springer, and a 2-run single by Rasmus. Big inning, 4-0 Houston.
28 RBIs on the season for Colby Rasmus, not wasting any time attacking an early fastball from Kluber. Well, we just talked about it, and Gary Pettis forced the issue by sending Springer home. And we talk about athleticism all the time. Watch Springer on this slide home. Beautiful slide. Getting that hand in there.
He got there fast.
Man, did he. This is, oh, there's a great look. Wow.
Has every right to be pumped after scoring that run. That was a quick trip from 3rd to home for George Springer. Rasmus picking up 2 more runs batted in to give him 28. There's bullpen activity. Lefty Kyle Crockett for Cleveland.
Chisenhall actually came up with a great throw. He short hopped that last throw a little bit. And that's why Gomes had to go out and get it. But when Gomes went out and got that, that's what allowed Springer to sneak in there.
Marwin Gonzalez walked earlier. He takes strike 1. Correa went 1st to 3rd on the single by Rasmus. 6 straight Astros have ambushed Kluber here in the 3rd inning.
Starting to put some big numbers on Kluber after those great numbers we saw in his career against the Astros.
Well, the left-handed hitters got it started against Kluber, Valbuena and Castro. Then Altuve a 2-run double. Rasmus driving in 2 with a single. Here's another look at Springer.
So Gomes had to go get that and then come back to the plate. Man, that was just perfection.
Strike two makes it 1 ball 2 strikes with Preston Tucker on deck. And Kluber hasn't had problems like this recently, although earlier this season against the New York club on April 17th he gave up 6 runs in 6 innings.
It's not too good.
His ERA at game time was 3.35. And he throws to first on Rasmus. Back in 2013, Kluber won both of his decisions against the Astros. Beat him again in 2014. He lost on opening day to Dallas Keuchel here. In 2015, 2-0, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits and 7 1/3 innings. Marlins down on strikes. Stays alive at 1-2. He was down on strikes. Okay. Now it's being questioned. Oh, it's a foul tip. All right. Now that was being questioned by the Cleveland Indians bench. Lance Barrett indicating there that there was a foul ball, so he stays up there with a 1-2 count. Looked like he swung and missed from here, but
yeah, and I didn't see any motion from the umpire.
No, you're right. Very good point.
You know,
that would have told everybody what happened. Little chop. Kluber tags Marwin, and here comes the run. 5-0. Gonzalez drives in his 7th. Correa scoring. Rasmus into second base.
Thank goodness for the foul tip.
You bet. That made a difference. In 30 1/3 innings against the Astros, covering 5 games for his career, he had given up 5 earned runs total. Now he's given up 5 earned runs in 1 inning. In fact, he only has 1 out. And it's Preston Tucker coming up, the 8th batter of the inning. Tucker hit a fly ball to center field in the 2nd inning. Another little roller. Kluber over for this one, and again he tags the batter runner for out number 2, with Rasmus advancing to 3rd. The Astros bat around. Carlos Gomez, the 9th batter in the inning. He hit a fly ball to center in the 2nd. Well, Dave Hudgens, the Astros hitting coach, Lorenzo Powell have to be enjoying what they're seeing from this Astros club offensively in the 3rd against one of the tough pitchers in baseball. Alonzo Powell, I should say, the assistant hitting coach. Dave Hudgens there. Luis Valbuena is on deck. Outside, ball 1. 5-5-0 for Houston. The Astros had only a walk in the first 2 innings. Gomez was called for a swing by Lance Barrett. That makes the count 1-1. Coming into this game, the Astros were 2nd in extra base hits in the American League. Yeah, it looked like it went.
Oh yeah. I've been a full body swing.
We see so many check swings. Tell us what's going on when a hitter checks his swing or attempts to do that.
Panicking. That's my eyes and my brain are not coordinating, and I'm trying to stop this swing in order to survive this at bat.
And he did check that time. Yes. Confirmation by Dan Sogna. 3-1.
Really happens a lot when you guess on a pitch, like say Carlos Gomez. It looks like he's sitting fastball. If that would have been a heater, he would have let it go. But since he recognized slider, he shut it down, thankfully, in enough time this time around.
Off the plate, and he takes a walk. That's the third walk for Kluber, who had only 7 in 43 innings coming into this one tonight. Now Terry Francona is coming out. Well, this is a surprise based on a recent trend and based on Kluber's career numbers against the Houston Astros. 4-1 with a 1.48 ERA. He is coming out in the third inning, trailing 5-0 with 2 men on base and 2 outs. The Astros lead it by 5. We'll be right back.
Threatening here with 2 outs after already putting up 5 runs. 5-0 Astros over the Indians. Tonight's fan cam is presented by GulloAuto.com. Good night to bring the kids out, have some fun. They brought the runs with them too.
Lefty Kyle Crockett comes out of the bullpen. He's the only lefty in the Cleveland pen. He has been in 3 games with 1 hold and an ERA of 0 since being recalled from AAA Columbus April 27th. And at AAA Columbus, he had a 1.29 ERA and 6 relief outings. Crockett is from Newport News, Virginia, went to the University of Virginia, a 4th-round pick of the Tribe in 2013. Right-hander Jeff Manship is warming up right now. Last year, Crockett was in 31 games with Cleveland. The year before, 43. He faces the lefty hitting Luis Valbuena, who started this home 3rd inning for the Astros with a single to right field. Now he has runners at 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. And there is strike 1. Kluber made an exit before the 3rd inning ended for the first time since September 1st, 2014. That was against Detroit. Last time he failed to get out of the 3rd inning.
Got to give a lot of credit to the Astro hitters. Saw them through the 1st round. 2nd time through, they annihilated them.
Strike to Valbuena, swinging, and it's 0-2. And it started at the bottom of the order. 5 hits and 5 earned runs allowed so far, responsible for the 2 base runners, with 2 2/3 innings for Corey Kluber. After pitching a shutout last time, Blummer.
Well, pitching a shutout last time, and how about what he did in that 1st inning?
Right.
I mean, he wiped out the top 3 hitters for the Astros, striking them all out.
Looked like a perfect game might be following the way he buzzed through those top 3 hitters.
It really did.
Altuve, Springer, Correa. Very dynamic 1st. Here's Gomez heading for 2nd without a play on him. The pitch was wide, and he easily moves to 2nd base. Stolen base number 3 for Gomez. Jason Castro's on deck.
Early enough in the game, you can get away with that 5-0 steal.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Buena's down on strikes. And the Astros send 10 to the plate in the 5-run third on 5 hits. George Springer racing home on the 2-run single by Rasmus. And it's 5-0 Houston.
Nothing Astros out in front of the Indians, top of the 4th. I can't take that guy seriously. 2016 Coca-Cola Astros Buddies memberships are on sale now for only $25. Buddies members get a voucher for 4 tickets to an Astros game, VIP access to Kids Run the Bases, exclusive autograph sessions, and more. Memberships for kids up to 12 years old are available by visiting astros.com/buddies. I think a lot of Root Sports employees have already jumped in and gotten their Astros buddy goodies.
Why not? Jason Kipnis taking ball 1, now looks at a strike. 1-1, and Mike Fiers now comes out in the 4th inning with a 5-0 lead. Corey Kluber in 2 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. It's a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Carlos Gomez well over into left center field for Kipnis.
Yeah, that's a big time shift in the outfield, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's about as drastic as you're going to find with that center fielder moving off center so much. What helps is that Springer can cover so much ground, and he's in right center. So if the ball's hit just to the right of second base, George can get there if it's in the air long enough.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call, Brownie, that understanding that they can exaggerate their shifts a little bit, knowing how well they can play the outfield and how much range those guys have.
Yeah, because isn't that a big part of the shifting? You have to take into account each player's range.
You really do. And the A.J. Hinch and the Astros have a luxury of having basically 3 center fielders, and you got Jake Marisnick on the bench too, who when you plug him in, you really don't have to make too many adjustments except maybe expanding the range.
That's not what Mike Fiers drew up for this inning. A leadoff walk to Kipnis after his club scored 5.
We get to look at our Ford spray chart with Francisco Lindor coming up to the plate, hitting left-handed. See where he hits those baseballs. A little bit on the pull side, up the middle with most of his hits, but pulls with those 7. But you can see why. A lot of those pitches middle down. Likes to drop the barrel and turn on them.
He's hitting .284 left-handed, .390 right-handed coming into this game. Throw over to first on Kipnis. All adds up to .321 for Lindor. Good block by Castro, and they pitch in the dirt, and it's ball one. Well, that Seattle series brought the Astros a split of the 4 games. That means they take the field tonight 6.5 behind the front running Mariners, who are back home with their 18-13 record. Texas now a half game behind Seattle at 18-14. Fouled, and it's 1-1. Steven Strasburg signed a $175 million contract extension with the Nationals.
Congratulations, Steven Strasburg.
He's having quite a year.
How about Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, moving from Texas to Washington, D.C.? How much of a cut does he get?
Yeah. Gonzalez throwing, and it's the out at first. That's all he gets. Kipnis beats the throw to second base. One down, a runner in scoring position for Brantley now.
Not a bad play, but knowing you're not going to turn the double play, sometimes you want to try and get that lead runner and keep him out of scoring position and keep the double play in order. It was a relatively close play, but at the same time, now you have a runner in scoring position and no way to double him up.
Do you think he seemed to be a little handcuffed as he fielded that grounder?
Yeah, and the scoreboard too. The 5 runs on the board. Marwin knew just get at least 1 out here.
Sure.
And that was the sure out by stepping on the bag.
Michael Brantley grounded out, and Altuve made a terrific barehanded play on him. There's ball one. That's an excellent way to think of it for the defensive players. They do have this early lead. So sure, you like to get the lead runner, but taking that 1 out on that play, not trying to be too fancy, can be helpful. Wouldn't it be automatic if that ball were a little bit more to his left and took him toward the bag? Then you always step on first, right?
Exactly right, Brandon. That ball was literally hit right at him, so the decision was his.
And as a right-handed throwing first baseman, that's not an easy throw over the runner to second base.
Yeah, as opposed to a left-hander who wouldn't have to shift their shoulders all that much. Just pick it up, give it a nice inside throw to the shortstop, get ready for the return throw. But that's when you're playing first base, you're taught to what you're talking about. You're taught to go where the ball takes you.
Brantley smacks one. Marlin gets in front of it. 2 outs, runner to third. And then Napoli follows. Napoli struck out looking in the second. Well, you and Ash and Julia head for Boston after the Wednesday game.
Yeah, some good cities on the next trip. Boston, Chicago.
Chris Davinsky goes tomorrow night against Trevor Bauer here at 7:10. Wednesday's a day game for travel. A 1:10 start for Doug Fister and Danny Salazar. Napoli struck out looking on a 3-2 count in the second, and it's ball one. So the Red Sox just a half game out of first, present a challenge for anybody right now, and then the White Sox are just, oh, Chris Sale and company, they have taken off.
Oh goodness. Quintana pitching well.
One and one. So your challenge when you get to Chicago,
what is that?
Is not to let Hawk Harrelson put it on the board.
Yeah, we got to. Tell you what, if I see a high fly ball, I'll just drop my headset, go next door, and take his off.
What a fun guy.
He's great.
Fouled away, 1-2. Regrouping from that 8-18 start, the Astros are now 12-20. By the way, they need one more homer for number 1500 at Minute Maid Park since they move it into this ballpark, including postseason homers. In the dirt. 2-2.
Good job by Castro, helping out his pitcher, trying to go for the punch out as you look at the home run pump.
14.99.
Have we taken any bets on who it's going to be?
Not yet. we better get that together or we've missed the boat. Who would be your #1 nominee?
Oh man, the way Altuve's been going, how do you bet against him? But I'm going to put it on Correa.
Okay.
I'm going to make Correa. He's going to hit a lot of homers and light that pump up over the years here. So I'm saying that he's going to be the one that leaves his mark with that 1500th. How about you?
I'm going to go with Altuve.
It's a pretty solid call.
Swing and a miss, hit one in the dirt. And Napoli is a strikeout victim. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded. The Astros lead it 5-0 in the 4th.
Home run pump, lead it 5-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. And there it is, Minute Maid Park history. Astros 1,499 home runs, including the regular and postseason. Next one will be 1,500. Who will it be?
Lance Berkman has more homers than anybody here in this ballpark. Jason Castro with strike one. Castro had the double, the broken bat double inside the third base line. It really advanced the inning after the Valbuena leadoff single in the 5-run third. Lance Berkman hit 155 home runs here. Jeff Bagwell 108, Craig Biggio 80. Those are the 3 leaders in the history of this ballpark. And of course, Lance had that big grand slam in the playoffs against the Atlanta Braves in 05.
Lance could crush.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Just buggy whip some pitches from that right side of the plate and then just absolutely hammer balls left-handed up into that upper tank here at Minute Maid Park.
Did you think he had more power right-handed?
Yes. I think he generated more bat speed right-handed. He was just a little wild with it through the zone. My goodness.
That bat almost hit Altuve in the on-deck circle, a strikeout.
Speaking of wild.
Julia?
Hey, guys. I got to listen in on Terry Francona talk about Altuve today. Of course, he was going to get asked about Altuve, and he actually laughed. Here he comes now. But he actually laughed and said sometimes you just got to walk in, you got to pitch around him. But he did say he reminds him of Dustin Pedroia in a lot of ways. Of course, he used to manage him in Boston. But he also said Brad Mills talks about Altuve until he's absolutely blue in the face. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Julia, you know this, but Brad Mills a few years ago when he came back as a coach with the Indians, former Astros manager, appreciative of Altuve so much that he named a bull after Altuve.
It's a good nickname for Altuve. Is the little bull right now.
He is a little bull.
In a China shop, just crushing things. Not a bad call.
Well, the China shop.
That begs the question: why does Brad Mills have a bull?
Well, his son Bo.
Do you know the answer?
Yeah, his son Bo had a ranch in East Texas and raised bulls. So one day I'm driving into the ballpark. I see a golf cart with Mills and Altuve on different teams, riding the same golf cart now, going out of the ballpark, turning right. Where are these guys going? So I saw Brad Mills later that day. Hey, where were you guys going? Oh, I wanted Jose to see the bull named after him.
How about that? Thank you for the information, Bill Brown.
There it is.
My goodness. There's little Toro ripping a base hit the other way. We know he doesn't lack in power now. We know he doesn't lack in speed. Defensive ability. This man has a strong set of tools and is maximizing them on a daily basis here for Houston.
So how great is he really? Let's try to give it some historical perspective, Jeff Blum.
Yeah, 2 Hall of Famers on the left and the all-time hit king in Pete Rose. And Altuve ahead of that pace and even younger than Pete Rose was during his 700 career games that he played. Robbie Alomar just a little bit younger than Jose Altuve. Well, I mean, 35 more hits than Pete Rose, who is the hit king, and my goodness, what, 76 more hits than Roberto Alomar. And I was actually surprised at that home run number that Altuve is beating them all.
That is surprising. You picked that out. Now we have had a pitching change to Jeff Manship. And Manship in 7 1/3 innings has 3 holds, a 3.68 ERA, a whip of 1.91, facing the bull.
I'm going to hashtag that. I'll be right back.
Did you call him the baby bull?
Could be. Who was the baby bull? There was some.
Orlando Cepeda.
There we go.
It's a baby bull. Why would he have been the baby bull?
I'm not sure.
He was a big man.
You know who would know would be Carlos Correa.
All right.
Big Puerto Rican fan.
Yes, you're right. We will find that out from Mr. Correa. Manship deals, and it's in over the corner for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, Carlos, a good student of baseball history. We'll be able to pass that along to us tomorrow night.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that he does know the history.
Lindor hits Altuve. 2 down.
Strike on the number 3 pitch off the outside corner, forcing Altuve to maybe expand the zone a little bit.
George Springer struck out and he walked and scored. 5 runs on 5 hits for the Astros. 0-2-0 for Cleveland. And it's ball 1. Lance McCullers will be rejoining the Astros, and he's due to throw a bullpen here tomorrow. After that, be reevaluated after his excellent start over the weekend. 2 balls, no strikes.
That'll make things interesting.
It will.
The depth is a good thing, and A.J. Hinch probably welcomes it, other than some of the conversations he's probably going to have with some guys in that rotation as you get a look at Lance doing the Altuve.
We haven't seen Lance in a while.
68 pitches in his last start.
That sounds right. 60 something. There's ball 4. Let's see if we got a note on that we can find. Yeah, he was over 60, somewhere between 60 and 70. Springer takes his second walk of the game. Correa the batter. Correa 1 for 2. Orlando Cepeda was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico, to Pedro Anibal Cepeda and Carmen Penix. The family was poor and lived in wood houses without a telephone or refrigerator. His father was a professional baseball player in Puerto Rico, where he was known as Perucho and the Bull. Ah, okay. His father was the Bull, so he was the baby bull.
Of course he was.
That's it.
Well, Melvin Upton, Boss Man Jr., Dad was Boss Man.
True.
I like those stories. Those are good.
Those are good stories. Carlos Correa knows those already. We have to look them up on the internet. about this drive, Blummer, last week?
Yeah, and this kid's impressive. Talked about that approach changing a little bit, trying to go up the middle the other way. That's a good idea of what he's trying to do. That pitch is middle down. And he's still good enough to create an attacking that allows him to launch into that right center field gap. And of course, the power is always going to be there.
A strike evens the count at 1-1. He singled through the left side and scored in the 5-run third. Out to left center field. Rajai Davis with the catch. In the 4th inning, no runs, no hits, and a man stranded. 5-0 Houston. Baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing too high. By Jack in the Box. Taste the Jumbo-licious jumbo meal before it's gone. Only at Jack in the Box. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. 5-0 Astros. The car alarm's going off as Mike fires. Gets a fly ball to center field. Gomez waiting. One pitch and Ramirez is retired to open the top of the 5th inning. Yan Gomes, who lined out to Gomez in the 2nd inning, will be the batter. The Astros in their last 15 games have outscored their opponents by 4 runs while going 7-8. The number's starting to look a little bit better. Still 8 games to go in the win column before they get back to 500.
That's the biggest number they need to work on right there.
So as a player, you have this mindset, hey, we're supposed to be a lot better than this. We're 8 below 500. How do you tackle each day?
You actually look forward to it because they had the target on themselves early on. Underperformed, obviously, with the record being 8 games under. But now, you know, the governor's off. You got to go for it now. You got to push strong, play up to your capabilities. But I would imagine there's got to be a lot of positivity in that dugout because they have last year to draw from, and they also have the talent to back it up, too. So I think there's a lot of chatter in there encouraging each other to maybe turn things up a notch and make some things happen. There's some frustration, too.
Strikeout number 4 for Fiers. Chisenhall will be next. He scorched a line drive, headed for right center field, and Correa went flying through the air and stabbed it with his glove. Dallas Keuchel on the rail, had a good start. Colin McHugh after him had a good start. That will help that mindset in that clubhouse.
Yeah, get those big guys going, leading the way. Everybody's going to follow right behind.
Strike to Chisenhall.
And you need those guys that have the stuff that Keuchel has, and also the mentality to want to be the guy that turns it around or leads the way.
1-1. Is this when you find out who your leaders are, when the club is several games below 500 and you need to get it going?
I tell you what, yeah, you can find out who your leaders are, but you can also find out what everybody's personality is really like. Because when you get in the trenches and things aren't going so well, you get to see everybody's pretty much true identity. And that can be really good or really bad. But anytime you can get that guy right there dancing around a little bit, it's good times in Houston.
Foul and the count stays at 1-2 for Chisenhall. Altuve leads all major league players in WAR coming into tonight, 2.8. Wins above replacement, which is an attempt to have an overall measurement of a player's value.
Might be the first time it's made sense to me, knowing that Altuve is leading the way, because he is doing everything on both sides of the baseball.
Isn't he, though? And he is now in front of Jimmy Wynn in 10th place on the Astros all-time stolen base list with 182. Rolled out to Altuve. On to Marwin. That's 6 in a row set down by Fiers. 5-0 Astros in the 5th.
Is presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
What a night for the Astros. They put a 5 spot on the Indians. Corey Kluber in the 3rd inning. Mike Fiers has made it hold up in a 5-0 game. Through 5 for Fiers. Now the Astros batting in the 5th. Get a foul ball from Colby Rasmus. He drove in a couple with a single to right in that 3rd inning. Colby's 1 for 2. Gonzalez and Tucker to follow Colby. In for a strike for Manship, pitcher number 3.
Oh my, is that frightening. This is what I think every time I see Colby Rasmus. Warriors. I'm not sure if I see the same thing, but everybody's watching the game a little bit differently.
Yeah. We all see the game through different lenses. 2-2. Kyle Crockett in 2/3 of an inning allowed no hits, no runs with no walks. He struck out both men he faced. Manship on a hook gets a punch out. Strikeout number 6 for Indians hurlers tonight. The Astros have not often made a dent in the Indians' ERA the way they have in this game.
You really got to wear a hard hat all the way up there, huh?
Well, you never know what's going to happen.
An impressive foul ball.
Marwin Gonzalez has a walk and an RBI on a ground out to the pitcher. Marwin takes a look at ball one. The Indians pitchers in the 21 games against Houston since the Astros moved to the American League had a 1.99 ERA before tonight.
Really got to look at these numbers next time they switch leagues.
Chisenhall with a fly ball. Out number 2. Preston Tucker follows. He's 0 for 2. Tuck has hit a fly ball to center and grounded out to the pitcher. What's been surprising to you in Major League Baseball, Plummer, as far as teams and what they've been doing? Cubs?
Cubs are no surprise. I mean, it may be a surprise in the sense that their record is as good as it is, but Seattle for me. I think Seattle's done a great job. Their pitching staff's done good. Their lineup is producing enough runs. Robinson Cano away from Safeco is an absolute terror. And then their bullpen's been doing a good job shutting games out for them too, creating that win-loss record. The White Sox are a good story too. Did not see that coming. With all the turmoil they had in spring training to be able to bust out. They released or designate John Danks out of that rotation.
1 and 2. You're right. A lot of people were looking at those stories about Adam LaRoche and his son and how LaRoche retired rather than try to fight City Hall on his son in the clubhouse, and thought that was a fractured clubhouse. But they repaired it very quickly.
Just adds fuel to the conspiracies when you remove a guy as good as Adam LaRoche. As you hear, he's a great guy in the clubhouse. His son was well received, except for being there a little too often. But sometimes you think removing a good guy out of the clubhouse can create some issues, but it may have galvanized him up there. They're playing well.
It may have, and Chris Sale was very outspoken against Indians management. According to stories, he met with the president of the team, Kenny Williams. They had differing viewpoints, but they agreed to put it behind them. And to his credit, Chris Sale has done nothing but go out there and pitch great baseball ever since. Tucker's down on strikes. That ends the 5th inning. Houston up 5-0. back on Root Sports. 5-0. The Astros lead it. Moving to inning number 6. Carlos Correa, a central figure in this one. A hit, a run scored. Fabulous defensive play. Mike Fiers throws ball 1 to Rajai Davis. Inning number 6 underway. Davis grounded to shortstop in the 3rd inning. Altuve with an excellent play in the 2nd on Brantley, and then the diving catch of Chisenhall's liner by Correa in the 3rd. Sparkling plays in support of Mike Fiers tonight. And Fiers, who came up 1 out shy of qualifying for a win last time out, is going after his 3rd victory of the season. Jabba Chamberlain's warming up for the Tribe. It's 1-1. 1-2 now. Two balls, 2 strikes. Cleveland has played good baseball within the American League Central Division, 10-4. And there are high hopes in Cleveland that the Tribe will be a playoff club this year. 2 games above 500 right now. Marwin Gonzalez goes up against the stands. Can't quite get there.
Julia can't make the play down there in the camera well.
No, she likes to let the fans have those balls. You could have caught that, Julia, correct?
I can catch everything. Right?
Yeah.
No, I'm the one ducking in the corner all the time.
The truth. I don't blame you.
Well, you're pretty close to the batter on most of your assignments in the stadium and elsewhere. What's the biggest trouble spot you have?
Fenway's pretty troublesome.
Okay.
And we're going there next.
Yeah.
I need a batting helmet.
Oh, we can work on that.
Maybe they can hook me up before I get in that little spot.
That could be
worth
photographing.
I'm going to go talk to Jason Castro, and I'm going to get you a helmet and a mask.
A mask.
We're just going to gear you up.
Chest protector, the shin guards.
Man.
Yeah, we'll
that would
get you
be
the
awesome.
Full set, Julia. Pulled and by a diving Valbuena into the left field corner. Rajai Davis heading for second base with a leadoff double. That's hit number 3 for the Indians.
A hanging breaking ball, just kind of dangling out there in front of Rajai Davis. Kept the hands back long enough to get the barrel on it. Valiant effort from Valbuena.
Yeah. Now it's Santana. He singled to left field in the 3rd inning, 1 for 2. Kipnis on deck. Pick off at second.
Or in shallow center field.
I don't think Correa was picked off on that one. He looked a little surprised, though.
I had situations where things like that would happen. I'd start screaming at the pitcher. I'm like, the other way, man. You got a 5-run lead. Go the other way.
Work on that, hitter. Well, there is that fine line sometimes for a pitcher, right? He wants to sometimes pitch as if it's a 1-run lead so he doesn't get too careless, right?
Yes. Be aggressive on the edges of the strike zone. It's not an easy, I mean, it sounds easy in theory to be able to pitch with a big lead, but still you can't give in because these big league hitters start making mistakes. They leave them scattered all over the outfield.
Fouled, and yeah, you bring up a point that I think we've seen happen several times. The pitcher is backed by a 5-run inning fairly early in the game. Then he starts getting hit around because he's catching too much of the plate. So it's one thing to say throw strikes, but throw good strikes.
Yep.
That's what all the pitchers are trying to do.
Very, very true.
That would be the worst feeling in the world, to be a starting pitcher, get a 5-run third inning, and give it up, right?
Oh, yeah. Not only on the field in front of your fans, but you have to head into that dugout, talk to some of the hitters, and go, "Hey, man, we just picked you up with a 5-run inning. Help us out."
Ooh.
Oh, wee. As big as the zone's been, where was that?
2-1. Low, maybe?
Sure. Or just hit the down and in corner.
Okay.
I mean, considering where we've seen the zone, that should have been an easy call.
Well, you missed the last series where you
Did you have some good ones?
Oh, yes.
Browdy, you've seen a lot of baseball. It must have been bad.
It was dicey. Correa takes it over to first base for out number 1, and Davis advances to third base. Well, we were talking, Blummer, yesterday about the 4-game series. Did you experience that as a player where familiarity could breed contempt? You had some hotly contested games. Normally, hey, after 3-game series, the umpiring crew's gone, the other team's gone, you get a fresh start. 4-game series, some lingering things can hold over, and we really did not see that yesterday, but it might have happened. You know?
Yeah, it can happen, especially when you're playing within your division. But I mean, how about the Astros having to put up with Robinson Cano in town for 4 days?
Ooh.
That would lead to all kinds of issues. You do get sick of seeing guys over and over. Because a 4-game series, even though it's one more game than normal, it seems like a week and a half you've seen those guys in the opposing dugout.
This just in, Robinson Cano was named American League Player of the Week.
What?
Yeah, right.
And there it is. He spent that week in Houston.
That had a whole lot to do with it. Fouled away. 12 balls, 2 strikes. Who was your favorite opponent? Did you just wear somebody out?
A pitcher or a team?
Team, like Cano did with the Astros?
Trying to think. I think I got a hold of Milwaukee every once in a while. They're pretty good for a couple stretches. But we were talking in Oakland about playing in the Oakland Coliseum, and I looked up my numbers, and granted it was only maybe 5 or 6 games. I think I had like 7 walks, a home run, 2 doubles. I mean, it was something crazy, but I had no idea that I would play so well in an awful stadium.
Rolled up the line to first. Marlon Gonzalez takes it. And the run comes home to make it 5-1, but it's out number 2. Kipnis getting his 14th RBI. Francisco Lindor is 0 for 2. He's grounded out both times tonight. A.J. Hinch talking it over with Doug Fister, who's put together some nice starts.
Really has. The velocity isn't there for Doug Fister that he's used to working with, but he's done a good job of pitching quickly, number 1, but also pitching to the edges of the zone that we keep talking about with that good sinker that he has. Big, tall guy, works a good downhill plane. Some late life on those sinkers.
When UNAsh do his next start, there's ball 1.
We got him this Wednesday, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
That's right. UNAsh aren't doing his next start. We're doing his next start.
I get to hang out with you and do it.
Well, okay. When we do his next start, let's see how the top of the zone goes, because he was using that more.
Was he?
Yeah. 2 hopper to first. Marwin with the play. Leadoff double, 1 run, 1 hit. And after 5.5, it's 5-1 Houston.
6th inning, the Astros are leading 5-1 over the Indians. Minute Maid Park is the perfect location for your special event, with elegant event spaces and high-end entertainment in one of Houston's most iconic venues. Learn more about having your special event at the ballpark by calling 713-259-8800 or by visiting astros.com/special events.
A special event for that group from the heritage of Town Lake. Meanwhile, Java Chamberlain is warming up. The Astros are coming up in the home 6th inning against the veteran right-hander. In 9 games, he has an ERA under 1.
Not too bad. I'm surprised he signed with the team that he had so many issues in that playoff game with the Yankees with the midges.
Oh, that's right.
But he's here pitching 9 1/3 innings. We also know he likes to attack with that fastball. Right now the velocity is around 92, 93 miles an hour with that slider curveball combination.
You speak of the 2007 ALDS, Yankees versus Cleveland, when he was attacked by those insects.
That did not look like any fun.
Carlos Gomez is 0 for 1 with a walk. No, not a bit.
Think he got rid of that cologne?
Yeah. Strike 1. He pitched 2 games in that series and gave up 2 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings, walked 3. But then when midges are buzzing around your head, that happens, right?
I would say, considering the circumstances, not too bad.
Bunted foul. What are midges?
They're a tiny insect that like to cling to your beard. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. I would have to do some serious research to figure that out, let alone figure out how to spell it.
That's something we try to stay away from.
Yeah, I would like to avoid that in the booth. Yes.
Although Chase Perisher has sent us a very nice Twitter pic of Julia
did he?
in catching gear. Good job, Chase.
Yeah, we appreciate those. Those are good.
Gomez looks at it, and it's 1-2. Didn't realize she had ever donned the equipment. And she hasn't, but she's pictured there with it on.
She's the emergency broadcaster.
Midges are a group of insects that include many kinds of small flies. That's a punch out. They are found seasonally or otherwise on practically every land area outside permanently arid deserts and the frigid zones. So we could have them here.
Yeah, I guess. They don't sound like any kind of fun.
No. Especially when pitching in the playoffs. Be attacked by bugs.
Did the midges get the 10th man award that season?
Yeah, they probably did. Valbuena's 1 for 2. And he was called for swinging by Bob Davidson.
Not only will Bob call a balk, he'll call a swing every now and then. Get a better look at it for fans at home. What do you think?
No.
No. But in case you were wondering, Bob Davidson is at the game and umpiring third base.
True. And his opinion is the only one that counts.
Just ask him.
We are totally insignificant in that decision process, which is as it should be. Now, is it documented that Bob Davidson has called more balks than any other umpire? That's his nickname.
I'm not sure.
But we're not sure that that can be supported by fact.
We'll have to get the sabermetricians on that.
Yeah. Line shot left field. Valbuena inside out swing. And he's going to get to second base. Brantley couldn't make a clean pickup. Valbuena is 2 for 3.
Pretty good piece of hitting on that slider.
It's his 6th double.
It's good to see that stroke coming around, and good things happen when Valbuena goes the other way with those pitches. It was a little more of a breaking ball at 81 miles an hour, but does a good job of staying back and driving it the other way. That's a good swing path for Valbuena.
We're seeing some signs from the bottom of the order, guys, with the Astros this homestand. Valbuena not only hit his first homer at bottom of the 9th home run against Seattle in game 3 of that series, but now 2 hits tonight. He's aboard for Castro. Castro has a double in 2 trips. That's hit number 6 for the Astros. Do you suppose they have nicknames for umpires like old check swing Hannigan?
They might. That's a good one. Is it Cowboy Joe West?
Yeah. There's ball one. Have you heard his album, his CD he put out?
I can't say that I have.
Okay.
That'd be a tough one to make the call on.
I have it at home if you'd like to listen.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Got an LP or you got a...
No, CD.
No, there you
Modern, very modern. You always ask those questions. 2 balls, no strikes. About things that were 40 years old.
Oh, it's good.
I'm surprised you even know about some of these things.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
I appreciate you thinking that, but when I got my dad's 8-track, I was pretty pumped up.
Yeah. 2-1. Now we're going to have all kinds of people going to the internet. What's an 8-track?
Hey, we just enlightened them.
True.
I know that my kids, if they're at home watching right now, they're going, an 8 what?
Two balls, 2 strikes. How about the old reel-to-reel audio tape recorder? You ever hear music on that?
No, never. Did you have to load that thing up yourself?
You did. You had to string it up. Yep.
Wow. Did it come with a crank?
No, it took a little time, though.
I'm just kidding.
But, you know, you've got to spend your time doing something, right?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Snap throw to second. He gets back. Off the glove of Lindor. Now, Valbuena's going to get to third base without a throw. Well, Lindor trying to stretch for that throw from Yan Gomes, and he got away from him.
Not a huge lead, but this is a play put on. You can see Lindor trying to come in and backdoor Valbuena, but Gomes just yanked that throw, and it's tough for Lindor to keep his eye on that ball.
Yeah.
With the runner passing in front of him.
Who would get the error for you, the catcher?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm shortstop bias.
It's an error on the catcher.
And I'm an official scorer.
Infield in, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the throw was pretty far off target.
Yeah.
And you pointed out the runner passing in front of Lindor. That way he had to wait for the runner to get in front of him, then try to pick up the flight of the ball again, reach out to his right. So that's difficult on his part. In the dirt, and it's blocked by Gomes. And that's a walk to Castro. He's been drawing a lot of those lately. 16th walk of the season for Castro.
Pretty good AB, and again, this bottom part of the lineup between Valbuena and Castro getting on base to turn this lineup over to get some of these hot sticks up with runners on is a very good thing.
Castro leads All-American League catchers in walks now. 4th in on-base percentage. Altuve had the 2-run double in the 3rd inning to left field. He's 1 for 3. Getting all kinds of suggested nicknames for him. El Torito.
I like that one.
Looks at ball 1. Altuve tied his career high with those 3 steals yesterday. He was really hustling. Foul ball almost got Springer. 1-1. Ah, there they are.
You have got to be kidding me.
Laz Diaz with a bug spray.
What's the over-under on how many he actually consumed?
How can you pitch with that going on?
I have no idea. That is just absolutely brutal.
Inside 2-1. Was that the theme song from the dating game?
When you're going to be back in it. No, that was something else. I was going to be back in 2-2.
All right.
No, I'm not familiar with the dating game. Was that the Three Bachelors and the Bachelorette?
Yeah.
Hey.
Chuck Woolery, the host.
Chuck Woolery was the Love Connection.
Well, I think Chuck Woolery did an awful lot of game shows in his day.
There's a good chance, right?
He probably had about 20 different ones, yeah. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And they tape those shows. Sometimes they do 3 shows a day, right?
Oh, man.
Jim Lang. See, I thought it was Jim Lang.
There you go. Yeah, you did.
But Carl Patterson said no, Chuck Woolery. But both of those guys were dominant. Yeah, okay, they both hosted it.
Now, did they have to go through the dating process to win the hosting job?
No. It could only be hosted by people who never dated.
Oh, that was good.
Altuve pokes one foul. Stays alive at 2-2. Jim Lang was the first host, and Chuck Woolery was the last host of the dating game. It ran from 1965 through 2000. That's a long.
That's that long?
Wow.
Come on.
That's 35 years.
Man, greatest show ever. That's right up there with Law and Order.
Whoa. It's almost a longer running series than Astros baseball. Altuve lays off. Full count to Jose. The Astros trying to square their home record at 9-9 this season with a win tonight. This a 10-game homestand. And they'll be on the road for those tier series and back here against the Texas Rangers on the 20th of this month. Altuve taps it foul. Is Jose expanding his zone a little bit more?
Yeah, he's chasing some of those sliders that Chamberlain's coming after him with, but a 3-2 count, and pardon Altuve for being a little bit greedy, wanting to drive in a run here. And maybe spoiling a little bit too. But I'm finally to the point where I'm not going to question anything Altuve does because he will do it the right way. And he will further exceed our expectations.
He will convert you.
Yes.
Runner going from first base. A drive to right field. Chisenhall with the grab. Castro gets back to first, and Valbuena comes home. Sac fly for Altuve. His 3rd RBI of the game. The Astros lead at 6-1.
Just to give you an idea of how good Altuve is also, he's able to drive in runs on a fly ball that won't count as a at-bat. So it doesn't go against his batting average, and he gets credit for the RBI. But again, he battled off some tough sliders and curveballs down in the dirt, gets one elevated, puts it out there for the sacrifice fly.
He has really delivered this season with men in scoring position. George Springer fans wanting George to come through here in his 4th trip to the plate. He's 0 for 1 with a pair of walks. Chris Davinsky goes tomorrow night against Trevor Bauer. Then it's Doug Fister and Danny Salazar Wednesday afternoon. Springer takes a look at it, and it's ball 1. One and one. Michael Thomas wants to know, do major league hitters know where they want the ball to go while swinging, or do they just try to hit it hard on the barrel?
I think they go up there with an idea of where they want to redirect the ball, and if they get a pitch that they can do that on, they will do it on. But more often than not, you go up there with a game plan, so to speak, or an idea of what you want to do, and then you react. Because big league pitchers are pretty darn good. Although if they make a mistake, it could lead to number 1500.
Bouncer, and it's gloved by Chamberlain, who throws out Springer. Astros pick up a run on one hit with one error and one man left. And we'll continue with more with Jim Lang. 6-1, the Astros lead. Score, the Astros leading the Tribe. And our game summary is brought to you by the DeMontron Auto Group, showing a big 5-run third for the Astros. That KO'd Corey Kluber. And Jason Kipnis had an RBI ground out in the 6th to get the Indians a run. The Astros have gotten solid work from Mike Fiers on the mound. 6 innings of 3-hit, 1 earned run baseball. And in that third, it was a 5-hit, 2-walk, 5-run frame as 10 Astros came to the plate. Right-hander Tommy Hunter is working in the bullpen for the Indians, and Astros fans watching as the Indians come up here in the 7th inning. Rainbow jersey tonight.
Those things never get old.
Nope. Brantley is 0 for 2. Michael has grounded out both times. Altuve got him on a slow bouncer with a barehanded play. One of the sparkling efforts in this game. There's ball 1. The Astros have picked up their play defensively. Starting pitching has improved the last few games. Foul back, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, I think that run differential, if they could create a little bit bigger spread, that would make a lot of staff members in that dugout really happy, because the offense is firing. They're getting it done. They're swinging the bats well. It's just trying to get those pitchers to really crunch down and keeping base runners off the base paths.
Astros had a big run differential last year, as you know. Rolled to third for Valbuena. And Marwin stretched out there for the throw. He kept his foot on the base. 1 out. Superlatives.
Oh,
for
man.
Jeff Blum. Kurt Schilling, 14 for 35. That's impressive.
Yeah, why not? Jeff Supan. Aaron Harang. I had no idea. He should have gotten traded the divisions he was pitching in. I didn't realize Brad Penning would be on that list, but Supan, I know I got. He's a multiple offender in my book.
Mike Napoli has struck out twice. Did you ever talk to a pitcher like Jeff Supan after hitting that well against him?
No, I actually know Aaron Harang relatively well. He's played in several golf tournaments. He lives in San Diego. and one of the nicest guys. I mean, we actually get along quite well, but the last thing I'm going to do is bring up that number right there.
Well, I was going to ask, would he or one of those other guys on that list ever come up to you and say, hey, how did you hit me so well? What did you see? What did you know?
That would be interesting. That would be an interesting conversation.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of mistakes, and that's all I tell them. I'm like, you guys kept throwing it to my barrel.
That was a good changeup from Mike Fiers there. He's been working that pitch in more.
I like it. You saw Colin McHugh working his changeup in. Helped him out in his game. There it is again.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Would Mike Fiers, for instance, be working on that pitch in a game like this, or would he not feel that he had that luxury?
There's really no reason not to. He has a bit of a cushion, so if he does make a mistake, it will lead to less damage. But we know pitching coach Brent Strom has been preaching changeup to Colin McHugh, #1. But Fiers looks like he has a pretty good one and is not afraid to use it. And the reason I say not afraid is because he's throwing it right on right. And that's a pitch, a changeup that comes in with less velocity but tailing towards the right-handed hitter. But still, if he has an effective arm speed on it, it's deceptive.
I think it's coming here.
I like the call, Brownie. 3-2. Hitter sitting fastball. You throw the changeup. It's like Castro called maybe fastball away.
Ball 4. Second walk for Fiers.
Should have thrown the changeup, Brownie.
It's so easy. Sitting up here,
I'm
right?
finding that out.
Ramirez 1 for 2. Well, you know, you've been in this industry for a few years now, and you've watched games on TV after playing. Now you're working games. You're hearing from fans who watch games on TV. And with the coverage on television, it can look easier, right?
Yeah, these camera angles sometimes don't do the pitches justice. And I think for me, the biggest thing that when I was playing and now even sitting up here and watching the game more consistently on TV is the one thing that doesn't translate for me is the actual speed of the game when the ball is put in play.
There's that changeup again. 1-1. Yeah.
Because once, I mean, the ball #1 is being hit extremely hard. And the exchange from glove to hand, the footwork that's involved, the coordination of the guys turning double plays. There's a lot of little intricacies happening at a very quick rate.
2-1.
And the time the ball leaves the pitcher's hand to the catcher's mitt or to contact, you get an idea at home, but when you're in person, you really have an idea of how quickly that ball is getting to home plate, and your decision time is so limited.
And when you sit, have you ever sat down, well, in the front row, field level, right behind the dugout or right behind home plate?
Not behind home plate, but plenty of time right in front of that front row.
That's where you feel that speed of the
Yeah,
game.
you really do. Orber's getting a good idea of it right now. I'm not sure he's paying attention though.
No. Strike. 2-2.
The backdoor cutter, or just a fastball that stayed on that outside corner. Nice.
Looked like it cut a little bit. But here again, you know, you get a much better sense of that in the batter's box.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there's been times where I've seen a pitch, swung at a pitch, and I've turned around and I've been like, I have no idea what that was. And I've just been, I look up at the radar gun and it says 92, but I could have swore it acted like a split finger.
Does it matter to you?
Oh,
what it was?
Mentally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could get in my own head pretty quick.
Altuve charging. There's the flip low. Correa up and over. No throw to first. Yeah, the throw was down around knee level, so the one out at second, out #2, was all they could get. And maybe they wouldn't have been able to get the double play anyway.
Yeah, it's tough with that low feed because as a shortstop, especially with Correa's arm, now keep an eye on the slide too. Because remember, the slide rule is in effect. And he went after. I have no problem with this personally. But at the same time, he is extending that leg a little extremely to go out and get Carlos Correa.
But he could reach the base.
Yes.
He did not slide past the base.
Good job of dragging that toe by Carlos Correa, too.
Yes, it was.
As well as Carlos is physically with all of his talent, he's still fundamentally sound for me, too. And you can see it right there on that play. He kind of gathered behind second base and didn't anticipate the good throw, kind of anticipated the bad throw. And the reason you gather behind second base is so when that bad throw does come, you can adjust your footwork accordingly, catch that ball like Correa did, drag the toe across.
So what do you do to stay loose enough to react to the bad throw?
Just in that good, you know, that basketball stance, that triple threat position, you know, knees bent, balls to your feet. You don't want to be sedentary. You know, hands up in a receiving position, giving a good target to the second baseman.
Yan Gomes takes ball one.
And getting back to the slide rule, which I think is ridiculous because, you know, one play changed the entire thing. I agree that Utley made an absolutely horrific slide, but I enjoyed the ability of getting out of the way of contact. I enjoyed creating contact as a runner. I loved that part of the game, and I loved playing up the middle of the field and trying to work around that situation because it is a part of the game. You can create runs. You can create more base runners, extend innings by breaking up double plays.
Yeah, so if you're a shortstop and you're making a play like Correa did or any play like that where the runner's coming after you and you're able to get out of his way, you complete the double play, we'll say. It's got to be a great feeling to come back to that bench.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I mean, especially you make, you know, baseball card type turns when you elevate, get off the ground after a throw, have the guy slide underneath you. He thinks he's going to crush you and he completely misses you and he doesn't know how. There's also great situations that, especially at second base, you kind of have your not your back completely to the runner, but you're kind of turning the double play blindly with that runner coming at you. And when you throw it, turn the double play, take the hit, and pop right back up, it drives those runners nuts. It's great.
Ripped on a line, Valbuena catches it. In the top of the seventh, it's no runs, no hits, and a man left. Astros lead it 6-1.
Park 6-1, Astros on top. It's our Toyota Tundra playing to win as we look at the Astros versus Corey Kluber, who started tonight for the Indians. Astros haven't been able to get much going against Kluber before tonight. Playing a little small ball, just like they did yesterday, and we're seeing maybe a maturing offense tonight. Nobody's hit the long ball, but some singles, a couple of walks. They were able to drive in 5 runs on Kluber, the former Cy Young Award winner, in 2 2/3, knocking him out. But you see, before tonight, he had only given up 5 runs to the Astros in 30 1/3 innings pitched. So different style of offense for these Astros here in the last couple of games, guys. And I think it's only a good sign for this group. Like I said, maybe maturing a little bit as we head into next part of the season.
It is an outstanding sign. Thanks, Julia. 7th inning stretch continuing here with the Astros up by 5, 6-1. Ken Giles has been throwing in the bullpen for Houston. Tommy Hunter comes in. He is pitcher number 5 for Tito Francona, as they call him. 0-1 in 2 1/3 innings with a 3.86 ERA.
Tommy Hunter can bring it too. Pitching in the mid-90s.
Carlos Correa faces him. He's 1 for 3. Out to right field, Chisenhall. 1 pitch, 1 out for Hunter. Jabba Chamberlain in 1 inning, allowed 1 hit and 1 run. Had 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And the run was not earned. Colby Rasmus drove in 2 with a single in that 5-run third. Colby's 1 for 3. This bullpen for the Tribe, 2-6 with a 3.84 ERA. In for a strike. Hunter started the year on the disabled list. He had off-season surgery on a core muscle. Throws a strike there, and he's in front of Rasmus, 0-2. Hunter was signed as a free agent February 12th. 1-year deal. Cracked on the ground. Lindor down on a knee. 2 outs.
Follow Astros baseball live and stay up to the moment with Game Day, live highlights, StatCast, and more with the MLB.com @Bat app. Download the app for your phone or tablet now.
And that's a great one for checking scores, as we'll do with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Marwin Gonzalez batting. He's 0 for 2 with an RBI. Has drawn a walk. Good night to just take it all in from out there around the Conoco Pump. Blue Jays lead the Giants 1-0. They just got underway. They're in the bottom of the first out west. Deep drive to right field is hooking and foul into the second deck. And on past it. Well, there it was in the second deck.
Ball was well struck.
Yeah, he thumped that one.
That's what you call getting the head out.
Marwin takes it. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Red Sox are blasting the Oakland Athletics 14-5 in the top of the 8th. They had a 6-run 4th.
It's all Tom Brady in that one.
Thought he was suspended again.
Moving to baseball.
Okay. Sonny Gray gave up 7.
Ooh, wee.
Oakland, yeah.
We don't hear that too often.
No, we do not. 1 ball and 2 strikes. White Sox 3, Rangers 2. Bottom of the 8th at Texas. It's a good matchup. White Sox are 22-10. The Todd father hit a home run. Todd Frazier, number 9.
It's a sneaky good pickup by the White Sox, getting him to play third base and hit bombs.
Yes. That's a good home run park, too. We're not telling you anything.
Yeah, I didn't hit too many there. Not a bad pitch from Tommy Hunter, getting good sync on that 93.
Fouled away. What do you think the city of Chicago would be like? You know the rest of the question.
I do. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. There would be a line drawn right down the heart of that city, and your allegiance would be known.
They would build a wall.
Yeah, there would be. Can you imagine trying to get a ticket for that?
Oh, no. 2 Hopper to Napoli at first. 1-2-3, 7th inning. We go to the 8th, 6-1, Houston.
of the 8th. Learn all about Minute Maid Park with a behind-the-scenes look at historic Union Station, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and much more. For more information, visit astros.com/tours or call 713-259-8996 to schedule your tour today. We're getting our first look at the bullpen, a bullpen that we've seen change here recently. These guys have been pitching in many different roles since the season started, when the starting staff was struggling a bit to go deep into games. You saw the bullpen being used a lot earlier in the season, and Tony Sipp told me today, we battled a lot of adversity early in the season. Nobody really knew when their number would be called or when their name would be called, when the bullpen phone would ring. But now things are starting to settle in. Ken Giles, of course, his role changing a bit here lately. Scott Feldman joining the bullpen. Dafinsky was down there for a while. A lot of things going on in that bullpen, but he's really proud of the way they've handled it, and he thinks they're only going to continue to get better.
Oh, there's a mess up, and the throw goes between Giles and Marwin Gonzalez. And on the easy ground ball, Chisenhall winds up at second base. First pitch from Ken Giles, just entering the game, and he does not get an out on an easy routine ground ball to second.
What should have been a routine easy ground ball. I'm not sure. It's a shame that Altuve may have to wear this error, but watch Marwin Gonzalez. As soon as he breaks to his right, that's where the issues are caused. And you can't, as a first baseman, you can't anticipate the pitcher covering first when you don't get the ground ball.
He was trying to find the bag. The error goes to Marwin.
Okay.
So not Altuve's mistake.
And you could put that under ME, which is a mental error.
And Giles would have been there. That's strike one. Rajay Davis. First error of the night for the Astros, their 19th of the year. Giles gets ground to third. Valbuena over to Marwin, one out.
The pitching performance is going to be powered by Kubota, and it is Mike Fiers going 7 strong on the evening. You see the line on the bottom. Great breaking ball, was able to locate the fastball effectively. We saw later on in the last couple innings, really did a good job of mixing that changeup in there also. And keep in mind that he was pitching rather comfortably while having a nice 6 runs in support.
102 pitches, 62 strikes. Mike Fiers. He's in line for win number 3 of the year. Carlos Santana's 1 for 3. One hopper. Gonzalez, 2 outs. Chisenhall to third. But Giles has gotten 3 ground balls since entering this game.
Indians hacking early on his fastball too.
Last time out against Seattle, he gave up 2 runs in 1/3 of an inning. That was Thursday night for Giles. Indians 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Jason Kipnis is 0 for 2. He got an RBI on a ground out. He also has a walk. That is strike one. Tony Sipp retired the final 6 batters in yesterday's 5-1 win over Seattle. And he worked 3 times in a 4-game series. Luke Gregerson worked 3 times in a row, got yesterday off. So it would really help if Giles could finish this game.
It'd be great for him too.
True.
I mean, these are opportunities for him to work on stuff.
Well, he had 2 good outings against the Twins to start this homestand, but then last time out getting charged with the 2 runs in 1/3 of an inning. And he gets a punch out here. For a good 8th inning for Giles. No runs, no hits, an error, and a man left. 6-1 Houston.
6-1, Astros lead the Indians. And time for a Chevy Stropole winner to be announced. Thanks to all who voted on our Twitter page, Root Sports SW. Which is the best Astros do? We were looking at some hairdos. And the Colby wins 48% of his locks. Some serious flow on Colby Rasmus. Look at it there.
Ah.
It's a great shot.
Oh, I thought the best was.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Oh, Hunter Pence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's the bleach blonde picture?
Oh man, those are old. You got to go back in a time machine. I don't even think they have video of that hairdo. But I thought Colby's champagne showered hair would have won with the goggles and the hair.
Right?
That was impressive.
His facial hair is also doing something different here lately. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right. Well, did you ever see
style?
You call that style?
Did you ever see Blum's Killer Blondes here at the ballpark, Julie?
Oh boy.
No, but I've heard.
Okay. Preston Tucker 0 for 3, leading it off. And Scott Feldman is working in the Astros bullpen. There's ball 1. Dan Otero is in the game for the Indians. Pitcher number 6. Hunter had a 1-2-3 7th inning with no strikeouts. Foul back, and it's a 1-ball 1 strikeout. Now Tucker getting a chance to do more DHing with Evan Gattis in the minor leagues. Otero has an ERA below 1 in his 9 1/3 innings. Former Oakland Athletic. Dan pitched 41 times for Oakland last year. He came up with the Giants in 2012. Went to Duke University. Pitch inside. That makes it 2-1. Here's Scott Feldman for the Astros. Blum's Killer Blondes.
Yeah, they were awesome.
They were quite a feature here at Minute Maid Park.
Brought me some good luck.
3 balls and a strike. Julia, did you happen to see the picture on Twitter? And they put the catching gear electronically on Julia Morales.
I think I did run across that.
All right,
Yes.
we won't show it though. We don't have your permission. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
On Twitter, I can do anything.
Yeah. Well, so you're Superwoman on Twitter.
I was in Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, people are so creative.
They are.
They're really good. Line drive, right center field. Tucker smacks one, and it rolls all the way to the wall. Kicks out to Rajay Davis into second base with a double. Number 6 of the year. That could do a lot for him.
Oh, but what a luxury to have a guy like Preston Tucker on your bench to be able to plug in when you're sending a guy out to go to Double-A to learn how to catch again. But Tucker goes down and gets this one nicely. And remember, the pitch before was borderline ball for me. I thought it was ball 4, but called a strike, gave him another opportunity. Instead of imploding mentally, Preston Tucker took advantage of the opportunity.
He hit a rocket. Hit number 7 for the Astros. Carlos Gomez is 0 for 2 with a walk. Valbuena on deck. Pop back, and there's strike 1. Oh no, here it is. She broke out the catching gear for the trip to Boston.
It looks like I could actually catch.
You can
I
catch.
might know what I'm doing.
Well, you do know what you're doing.
Well, why are you smiling with the gear on is
I'm
what I want to know.
so happy.
You're so happy to be patted up.
Excited.
Yeah. That's into center field. Tucker's being waved home. Rajay Davis with a throw to the plate. Cut off. RBI single for Gomez. 7-1 Astros. Gomez drives in his 5th.
Keep piling on. Get greedy. Get those stats. Get those numbers.
Well, both Tucker and Gomez coming through back to back. They've both been slumping. Now Valbuena. He's 2 for 3. Evan Gattis tonight has gone 1 for 4. Grounded into a double play, singled and struck out as he plays for Corpus Christi and does some catching. Strike one to Valbuena.
Kind of impressed with Gaddis agreeing to go down and do that.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of things that come into play with that whole situation as far as time served.
Yes. One hopper. Whoops.
Look what I found.
Yeah. Mike Napoli made that an exciting play for out number 1.
I don't know if he was trying to set somebody up.
That had to be it.
I don't know what to say right there. That was interesting.
I think he thought the ball dropped out of his mitt. He just didn't believe it was in there.
Yeah, where did who go?
Jason Castro has a double and a walk tonight. Gomez to second with 1 out. Castro fouls it. There's strike 1. Congratulations to Chavez High School in Houston for winning the Vocabulary Bowl.
Nice.
Vocabulary.com. Those kids know their vocabulary. They got the award today. Big shiny trophy. Pitch off the plate makes it 1-1. We're hearing from folks out there on Twitter about game show hosts. One and two. Chuck Barris.
The Gong Show. Yeah, that was a good one.
That had a long run.
There is nothing you cannot find on Twitter. I mean, in the internet. Sorry, Twitter does have everything, but my goodness.
2 and 2. Peter Marshall was a famous game show host, and his son played Major League Baseball. So that is our trivia question for tonight. Struck him out. Out number 2. Who was Peter Marshall's son who played Major League Baseball?
Let me type that in real quick.
All right. Let's see if Siri can help you out on that one.
Yeah.
2 outs and it's Altuve batting. He's driven in 3 tonight. Giving 22 runs batted in. He played with the Cubs and I think a few other teams, but I remember him with the Cubs. Maybe Kansas City. His name was not Marshall. Fouled for strike 1. Gomez at second base. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 6-4 at the end of 6. White Sox 4, Rangers 3, top of the 9th in Texas. It's 1-1. This is just a one-city trip for the Indians. They came all the way here to Texas for 3 games, and they're going all the way back home. It's a lot of travel for 3 games. They have an off day, though, Thursday. Grounded foul. 1 and 2. George Gentry got the answer.
Oh, I put my. No.
Do you have it yet?
I don't.
Okay.
No, I figured Twitter would let me know here in about 30 seconds.
Well, you'll find out.
Let me refresh the feed.
Okay. 8 hits for the Astros, 3 for the Indians, 1 error for each club tonight. We'll give you until the top of the 9th.
Somebody just tweeted a picture of Wink Martindale.
Oh yeah, Wink Martindale. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Big game show host.
Tic tac dough.
That's right. Yep.
I'm getting a lot of feedback on the game show host. Bob Barker's on my feed.
Oh, sure, yeah, Bob Barker.
He was extra special in Happy Gilmore.
Lindor comes in, throws out Altuve. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 man left. We go to the 9th inning with Wink Martindale. Baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Toyota, let's go places. Welcome back on Root Sports. It's the Astros 7, the Indians 1. We go to the 9th inning at the International Space Station there. We were looking for that last night. Scott Feldman in 6 games is 1-2 with a 3.65 ERA. And look at the figures in relief with 5 innings of hitless, scoreless baseball, Plummer.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I'm not sure that Feldman is going to brag about those because I'm sure his ego wants him to be a starter. But I actually appreciate the fact that he has accepted the challenge, gone out to the bullpen, and pitched well.
His first pitch is strike 1 to Lindor, who is 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts. Ken Giles in 1 inning allowed no hits, no runs, had no walks, 1 strikeout, worked around an error. We need to stand up, Plummer.
I guess so. Man, we're getting direction from somebody else around here.
Take a photo. Yeah.
Maybe that guy just needs to get taller.
Yeah, that could help too. Feldman trying to finish it up for Mike Fiers, who would be 3-1 with a win tonight. That one goes foul, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. The paid attendance tonight, 20,222 on a Monday night. Now, tomorrow night at 7:10, game 2 of this series follows. Chris Davinsky opposes Trevor Bauer, and then it's Doug Fister and Danny Salazar Wednesday at 1:10. 2-2. All right, it's time to reveal the answer to our instantaneous trivia question about.
You can't make me say it.
Peter Marshall, the longtime game show host, had a son who played Major League Baseball. Pete Lecoq played Major League Baseball for the Chicago Cubs. Struck him out. There's out number 1 for Feldman, and there's the card. First baseman for the Cubs.
You guys are true professionals.
Well, we had a lot of correct answers, so we wanted to reward those people.
How does that hair not win?
Yeah, that hair played strongly in the 70s? 77.
Nice.
Yeah. Michael Brantley has grounded out all 3 times. How do we get these baseball cards?
Somebody's got a massive collection out there.
Correa. 2 outs for Feldman.
Our delivery of the game is delivered to you by Jimmy John's. Michael Brantley was going for a knock. Didn't hit it well, but Jose Altuve cut in front of Carlos Correa. Barehanded that play with a fantastic play. And then Carlos Correa up to the task. Lays out for that line drive, and Jason Casher behind home plate. Picking up Mike Fiers by throwing out Carlos Santana at second base. So good pitching, good defense, and a lot of offense lead to a big lead for the Houston Astros here in the top of the ninth.
Mike Napoli's the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike one for Feldman. The Astros, with their 5-run inning, tied the 5-run frame against Minnesota 5 days ago on this homestand. So twice they've gotten the offense revved up for 5-run frames. And this time it was against Corey Kluber. In for a strike, and it's 1-2. 6:30 tomorrow night for the pregame show, and these fans are up. Feldman gets a strikeout on Napoli to wrap it up, and the Astros take game 1 of this series from the Tribe. They are now 5-3 on this homestand. Their record goes to 13-20. Mike Fiers the winner. He's 3-1, beating Corey Kluber. He is 2-4, and the Astros seem to be headed in a much better direction with this 5-3 homestand with 2 games to go. Final score: Houston 7, Cleveland 1.